Hello guys, welcome back once again. In today's video, we'll be looking at some DAX function. And remember, we did not create a dimension table for calendar, but the date. We look at your data model, you would find that you can't find a model for dates. I said I was going to show us how to create that using a DAX formula or a DAX function to do that. So we're going to create using what I call calendar auto. I'm going to go back to my come to the table view so you can see it very well. Select any of the data, then right click, and either you right click or just come here and select new table. So once the formula bar pops up like this, new table, I'm going to type this. I'll type in dim calendar, and I'm going to use the DAX function called calendar auto. So you can see it here, calendar auto, and what it does is that it returns a table with one column of dates calculated from the model automatically. So I'll just close my parentheses and hit that. So to generate all the dates, to look at the model. So let's go back to our we are here now. Let's check. The only place we can find a date column is here in the sales fact table, and it only contains one date column, which is this, right? So you can change this from long format to, let's give it short format. Now this is the only date in this table. Like overall, all the table, we don't have any date aside this particular table that contains the date. So what calendar auto will do is to check through all the model, including all the table, both dimensions and fact table. Anywhere it sees date, it compiles everything together and form or generate a list of date from it. So from here, since we only have this column in the sales fact table that contains date, it generated a date from this column. If I click down here to see, you can see from 2011, and don't forget the data is from 2011 to 2016. 2011 to 2016. So let's go back and let's just cancel this. So cancel this. Let's go back to our model and let's go to our dimension table for calendar and see. You can see it here. It's here now. So I'll go back to this place and select the dimension table for calendar. So we can see that we have all the table for calendar here. If you keep scrolling down, we have over 2,192 rows. I'll scroll down and I get to see, you can see 2013, 2014, down to 2016. Okay, so to generate order, we need the year, the month, we need the quarter. I need those ones. How do I add them in? Still with this selected, the dim calendar selected, I'll click on new column so you can see them here. So you want to create a calculated column to add the year. So once it pops up, I'll change this from column to year. Then I would say use the DAX function year, and I would open it. Now the only argument it takes is the date. Returns the year of a date as a 4-digit integer. It takes the date, so I'll type in date. Don't do the mistake of clicking this particular date. Just scroll up to find the one that is coming from this table, dim calendar. The date coming from dim calendar. So I'll select this and close my parenthesis, then hit enter. It will generate the year for me. It has generated the year. So first I'm going to convert this from, it's showing date and time, convert from this. Let's go with this one, this short at the top. Okay, so we'll go with that. We just generated the column for year from that data. The next one we want to look at is for the month. Following the same method, select the dim calendar and I'll hit new column. This time around I'm going to be using month. So I would say month. Then I'll use the month DAX function to derive that. Open my parentheses, then it takes only one argument 2, which is the date that is coming from the dimension calendar. So I'll select this, close my parentheses and hit enter. But you notice it's brought out the month number, which is like 1 representing January, 2 representing February, and like that down to 12 representing December. What if I wanted to show the full month name? To do this, I'm just going to create a new column I'll create a new column, then I'm going to format it too. So I'll give this month short or month name. Let me just give it month name, then month name, and I would say okay, format. So we use a function called format. What do you want to format? It's asking the value you want to format. I want to format the date, so I'll type in date, which is coming from the dim calendar table, comma. The next thing is, what is the format? The format is going to be like this. If you want short dates, just put 3M, 1, 2, 3, 3M. If you want long dates, put 4M. So I'm going to put 3M and close my parentheses and hit enter. Then it will generate the first 3 letters of every of the month name. January, but if you want it to be in full, just add 1 more M to make it 4. The next thing we're going to look at, I want to also generate a column for the quarter. So I'll select the dim calendar here and I'll hit new column. Once I do that, it's going to load it in for me and I'll be able to type in my formula. So I have this here now. I'll change this from column to quarter. All right, so I'll just use the formula, the function quarter. It only takes one argument 2, which is the date that is coming from the dimension table for calendar. Select this, close my parentheses and hit enter. So it's going to load that in. But looking at this, is looking somehow 1 1 1 1. I want to make it more unique, maybe to make it, add Q to it to make it more unique, maybe having Q1, Q2, Q3. So I know it's, to do this, I'm going to format this. I'll add a new column to it, new column again, and I'll change the format from the way it's looking like this to another one. Let's give it quarter. Let's give it quarter two, and I would say format. What do you want to format? I'm formatting the dates coming from the calendar table, in calendar table, comma. What is the format? So the format is going to be, I'm going to open my double quotation mark, then backslash, this forward slash, then I would put Q, just like that, then close double quotation mark and close my, then hit enter. So you would see now how that it will change that. So you can see this like this. This is how you add. So I can just delete. You can right click on that table and you see delete. So I would delete the one for quarter, this quarter. Yeah, you sure you want to delete? Yes, delete. So I'll leave this quarter. I can rename it too. So I'll rename it from quarter 2 to just quarter. Hit enter. I'm okay with this. Month name, I'm okay with the month name also. I'll leave the month because it's useful when I want to add, when I want to use it. So I'll leave the month name. Date, year, month. You can also do for day and weekday, same thing. You can try that out at your end. Okay, so let's add for day. So add for day. Come here and new column. Then I would add for date. So I would say day. Then I'll use the function day. See the day here only takes one argument as well. Date coming from the calendar table, and I'll close my parentheses. Then I will hit enter to generate the date for me. The day for me. So I get to see which day using number as well. So this is how you can use, the function to create it. Another way, remember I said that for calendar auto, it checks through the model and generates list of date from it, right? What if you now have maybe we have a column in the customer lookup that contains the birth year or birth date of all the customers? It's going to be a disaster if it's lookup for the dates, list out all the dates in the customer lookup table containing their birth date, and also the one here in the sales fact table, merging everything together to form, you have a very long list of dates. We're seeing dates from 1870 something down to 2016. So in that case, that kind of situation, you want to specify how you want the dates to be from what year to what year. In that kind of situation, the best way to do it is, I'm going to create another calendar again. I'll give it rolling calendar. So just select somewhere, right click, and you're going to just select somewhere, then come here and click on new table. So we'll use this, we'll create another one. This is where now you have to pay attention to this. So I'm going to create I'll call it rolling calendar. Rolling calendar. Then what else do I want to do? I would say, okay, for this rolling calendar, I'll shift it down a bit, moving to the next line. I'll say, okay, I want to declare a variable. What do I want to call this variable? I'll call the variable a base calendar. A base calendar. Then what would be in this base calendar? I would say for this variable base calendar, say equal to calendar. So we use the calendar function here. Calendar function, this one, particular one. You can see start date, end date. It returns a table with one column of all dates between the start date and its end date. So it requires that you specify the start date and the end date. So I would say date. Then in that bracket, I would put in, it's from 2011, so I'll put in 2011, 1, 1. Starting from January 1st, 2011, I'll close my parentheses. Then comma the end date. It takes two arguments, start date and end date. So I'm saying generate the date from this values here as the start date. Same thing for the end date. I know it ends in 2016, so I'll put my parentheses and say 2016, 12, 31, and I'll close my parentheses. Then close my parentheses again. You can see it's now equal. Then go down. I'll say return. Return what? Return base calendar. This one here. So you're saying you've got a now the base calendar. You're saying that this base calendar should be this here. So return calendar, and I'm going to hit enter. It will generate a new column for me. A new column in this room. Can you see? Exactly the same thing as calendar auto. So you use this when you want to specify your start date and your end date. Then we'll repeat the same process of adding, using the function, using year to extract the year, month to extract month, and the likes for some. I just showed you how to. I'm going to just remove the rolling calendar. I don't need it. I just showed you how you can. So delete from model. Yes. Then the last method is the one we use M-code. I already showed us how to in Microsoft Excel, but we'll just quickly brush through it. To go back to your Power Query, when you're already in your Power BI front end, you come here to your home tab and you click on the transform data button in the queries group. So click on that and go to transform data. It takes you back to the Power Query. So it takes you back to the Power Query. Then here in the Power Query, I want to create a new table that will contain calendar. I'll give that rolling calendar this time around in the back stage view here. So let's wait for it. Now I'll come here and I'll look at select blank query. We've done this before, but I'll just show you again how you can do it here in Power Query inside Power BI. Then I'll come to my advanced editor and I would say you remove all this. I'll say start date. I'm calling out my start date. Start date is going to be equal to date.from. Remember how we did this? Open bracket, date from where? So I'll specify where my date is coming from. So it's going to be, so date.from, I would open my double quotation mark and I'll type in 1/1/2011. That's where I want my start date to be. The next one is to find for end date. So put a comma, make sure to put a comma, then enter, and I'm going to put S, capital letter S for start date. Then end date is going to be end date. end date equal to, so same thing, date.from, and this time around is going to be, since the end date is going to be 12 of, that's open bracket 12/31/2016, then I would close, parenthesis close, then comma. And the next thing I want to do is to list out all the dates from the, so I would give this full date, and I'll say equals to, what do you want to do? I want to list out all the dates, list dot date from the start date and the end date. So open my parenthesis, and the first argument is the start date, so I'll type in start date, and that start date that I declared already will pop up, start date, comma. The next one is count as number, so I'm going to do number from, I'm going to subtract the start date from the end date, number dot from, to derive number from the date, open my parenthesis and type in end date. This is the end date here, minus number dot from where, dot, open my parenthesis. I will explain the formula again, number dot from start date, then you can just add +1 to make sure that I'm not missing anything, comma, and the next one is step duration, just use hash duration, the hash duration, open my parenthesis, 1,0,0,0. So I'm saying that list all the date between the start date, you generate number from it, subtracting the start date from the end date. We are adding this +1 just in case we are missing any number, we're not selecting everything. Then this duration is simply day 0 hour 0 minutes 0 seconds. So you get the list of the date from the start date to the end date. Next one is the in, to return. What are you returning? I'm returning full date, the full date here. So you can see it's showing no syntax error has been detected, so I'll hit done and it will generate all the dates for me. So it's saying we couldn't pass as this, so let's go back and fix the error. So I'll come back here, or just go back to my advanced query editor. The date format is different, so I'll change this from, so this is going to be 31, then 12. So let's see. So I'll hit done and let's see if it's going to generate the list of dates for us. So you can see generated list of dates for us. So we convert from list to table. So with this, remember how we did it, you can now add your date. So yeah, I don't want no delimiter, I want to convert table, I don't want any delimiter, so I'll hit OK. So it has converted it to date. So I'll come here and change this to date. So change this date and rename this from column 1 to date, hit enter. So I can add other columns here by coming to the add column, making sure that this is selected. Now come here to date, you can add the year, come back here again, make sure this is selected, come back to add the month, name of the month, same thing, come back, make sure this is selected, come back to add the quarter of the year, the same thing, come back here to select, the same, almost the same method, start of the week, then come here again and say okay, the day, maybe day or name of the day, anyhow you want it to be, day of the week, you can just generate that. You can see how we generated it. So we are done with this. All I have to do is to load. I'm going to rename this now to, I'll give it rolling calendar. I'm okay with this, so enter. Then we can close and apply it. If you load it in, it's going to pop up. So close and apply will load that in. So it's going to load that in. So waiting for it to load it in, and okay, so you can see it has loaded that in. If you check, you would find it, that rolling calendar. Can you see here? The rolling calendar is here. So I don't need it, I'm going to delete it. I would only work with, I would delete from the model, I would only work with the dim calendar. So the last thing I'm going to do here is to connect this dim calendar to the model. So I'll go to my model view, right? Then I'm going to bring this here, and I'll bring this here, and I'll add this, forming a star schema. So I'll share the link to the video where we looked at this data modeling and how to connect tables, so you know what the difference between star schema is and snowflake schema. That is a model that we have when connecting our tables together. So we have dates here, so drag this here to this one, and a relationship will be created, many to one. Very good. So I'm going to hit OK, save, and we are good to go. I see relationship have been created. This is the best model, best relationship you can build, one to many. So thank you. We'll meet in our next video. If you're just visiting my page for the first time, my name is Brian Blessing. Bye.